guys, it's Claire. I just reread the Harry Potter series. This was my second read-through of the entire series, and I realized that I have a lot to talk about. I read the series for the first time 3 years ago. I was in grade 9. I was a late bloomer. I joined the fandom at a later stage. I regret it, but here I am. The first time I read the series, I didn't do any book reviews of any sort. I figured it wasn't really worth making individual book reviews since pretty much the world has read this series and everyone already has their thoughts and opinions and everyone already has said so much about these books. But then I also realized the second time around that I just wanted to talk about a lot of stuff, and making these videos, it's kind of for me to cope. So this is me coping. I'm not going to talk about each book individually, but kind of the series as a whole. I have a few main points I want to address, and that's what this is going to be. So I guess it's sort of like a Harry Potter series book review, more of a discussion than a review. But if you haven't read the books, don't watch this video. First of all, if you haven't read the books, I know. I've been there. I've been there where people were like, you have to read Harry Potter, and I was like, I don't really want to. I'm not really into wizards and like this whole like Hogwarts business. I'm like a teenager, a young adult. I don't need to be reading children's fantasy. I know what that's like, but I promise you that if you read these books, you will not regret it. It took me so long to finally get myself to read these books, and I wish I had read them back at least in middle school, because then I could have been there with the final movies coming out, and I missed out on so much. But it's okay, because The Cursed Child and Fantastic Beasts, and there's always more Harry Potter, so I'm still involved, guys. I'm still a part of this. Go read the books, come back, and we can discuss things together. Okay, we're going to start talking in 3, 2, 1. Now we're talking. I guess this discussion is also focused on the fact that there's a lot of things I picked up the second time around reading these books that I didn't really notice or that didn't have as big of an impact on me the first time. And there are a lot of things too that I had opinions on after reading the book for the first time, and reading the series again either solidified those opinions or made me see things differently. The first thing that really impacted me this time around was realizing that Hermione Granger is a social justice warrior. Like, I did not notice this the first time reading the books. The first time I read the books, I was like, wow, Hermione is very smart and she's wonderful and I love her, what a girl. But this time I really noticed how passionate she is and how she's willing to fight for so much. Like with Spew and with like these like strong feminist comments. Like she's a social justice warrior. I aspire to be Hermione Granger in every way. The second thing I noticed this time was that Ron is a serious jerk in the first books. I forgot about this. Harry's a jerk too, but like, especially Ron, it's mostly because he's a jerk towards Hermione in the first book, and kind of like through the second, third book, he's just a jerk to Hermione, and I love Hermione, and I was like, stop being so mean to her, just let her live her life. Yeah, Ron is a total jerk, but he gets better and we love him. I love Ron. I'm not saying I don't love Ron, I'm just saying he's a real jerk in the first few books. On the note of major flaws in characters, Harry is a majorly flawed character, and that's something I picked up the first time around, but it definitely had a greater impact on me this time reading the books, especially since I've been working on writing my own stories and trying to make my protagonists have realistic flaws, and Harry is not this perfect person, clearly. Also though, can we talk about sassy Harry? Because around the Order of the Phoenix, Harry just has all this like sass pouring out of him, and it makes me laugh so much. The best Harry is sassy Harry. Another majorly flawed character that I kind of forgot was majorly flawed is Albus Dumbledore. When I think of Dumbledore, I just think of this godlike vision of this perfect human creature who's just beautiful and wonderful and is a precious cinnamon roll that we do not deserve. But Dumbledore has some major issues. Around the Order of the Phoenix, Dumbledore tells Harry that there's a lot he hasn't been telling him, and they talk about the prophecy and how Dumbledore was trying to protect Harry because he loved him, and it was like, but okay, it's understandable. But as time goes on, we realize that Dumbledore lies a lot, and by the time we get to Deathly Hallows, it's like, you're still like, I still love Dumbledore, and I'm rooting for him, and I'm hoping he pulls through, but it's hard because you realize that he kept a lot to himself. He didn't tell Harry a lot of things that he probably should have. Of course, he redeems himself at the end of the book. They have their whole discussion when Harry's like dead but not dead, and you know, Dumbledore is genuinely apologetic, and he kind of hates himself for it, which makes me just go, Dumbledore, no, it's okay, we love you. I think that's really important in this series too, though, how this one character who represents something that is so entirely good in this series is majorly flawed too. It's just more realistic that way, and it shows you that everyone has flaws, and that's okay. We can still love each other despite our flaws. Harry and Dumbledore love each other, and it's so precious. A majorly flawed character who just bothered me. Oh, I'm gonna get hate for this one. Sirius Black. I remember the first time I read the books, he irritated me, and he irritated me even more the second time around. And I get, once again, he's a flawed character, and that he's lost a lot, and that he's trying to make up for his losses through Harry, but it's just really frustrating for me to read about that. Of course I didn't want him to die. No, of course not, especially since it hurt Harry so much, but I didn't miss his character's presence in the series once he was gone. I forgot what dark themes this book dealt with, one of them being abuse. And of course I remembered the Dursleys and how, you know, they're abusive towards Harry. But I forgot how incredibly awful Umbridge was. Of course I remembered that she was annoying and that no one liked her and she was just but I forgot that she truly was a horrific woman who was abusive to students. I feel like it's something that 14-year-old Claire recognized but maybe didn't pick up as much as 17-year-old Claire did. Unpopular opinion time. Snape is the worst, and I will fight you on this. I get that he is very courageous and that he puts his life on the line, but he does it for very selfish purposes, and he is just a cruel man, and he's emotionally abusive towards Harry throughout the whole series. I get that Harry's the son of James, who Snape loathed, but he's also the son of the woman that he loved, so like, why is he so mean to Harry? Going into the series, I remembered, oh yeah, I'm supposed to like Snape, because in Deathly Hallows, it's revealed that he was actually fighting for good, and that, you know, he did put himself on the line. And I appreciate that, I appreciate it. I'm not saying that I wish he didn't exist, you know, he did a lot and he sacrificed his own well-being a lot. That doesn't mean he's a good person, because he wasn't. I don't get why Harry named his kid after Snape, like, it just doesn't, I guess he's one of those complex characters where I'm, like, grateful for him, but also he's just, the first few books, I was reading it and I was like trying to like Snape, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't like him. He's just so cruel. If Snape is the worst, Ginny is the best. Ginny is such a wonderful character, and I forgot about all of that. I also think that when I was 14, I was still forming my own opinions, and I wasn't sure what I was as passionate about. This time around reading the series, Ginny just really stood out to me. She's the type of person I wish I could be, who's just so courageous and brave and daring, and she's witty and funny. The movies really make Ginny into a completely different character, and that upsets me because Ginny is such a great character and she represents so many great things, and she's just this kick-ass female character who I'm obsessed with.
Gonna take you to the city, take you out to dinner. Ginny.
Let's be real, Ginny in a Harry Potter musical is my dream role. Not gonna lie, you guys. Not gonna lie. Okay, so those are just some of the big thoughts I had about this series. I mean, it's Harry Potter. What is there to say that hasn't already been said? Another thing I forgot about was how the first 3 books are very children's fantasy, and they are what you would think and expect Harry Potter to be when you hear about Harry Potter. But after that, the series just takes this turn into, like, these darker themes, and it's just so complex and just brilliant. And I think that people who scoff at Harry Potter expect the whole series to be like the first book that's still, like, you know, it has some darkness to it, but it's mostly light and children-centered. It takes place in a world of magic, but it deals with such real issues, like we mentioned, abuse, but also just being a teenager and going through teenager things while trying to deal with the bigger picture. It was really interesting too because I was taking my school's philosophy 12 course while rereading the series, and a lot of what we were discussing in philosophy comes up in Harry Potter, and a lot of the philosophy projects I did centered around what I read in Harry Potter and how the book connects to all these great philosophical thoughts and reasonings. It's just such a brilliant series. I mean, there's nothing like it. I have no clue how J.K. Rowling just came up with all of this. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop there because I've probably rambled on long enough. Leave your thoughts and opinions on Harry Potter in general in the comments. If you want to fight me on anything, go for it, but let's keep it civil, friends. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Wanna take you to the city, gonna take you out to dinner. Jenny, you're cuter than a guinea pig. Wanna take you up to Winnipeg, that's in Canada.